Okay, here's another League of Legends game coming your way, this time with Poppy in the jungle. Grab my machete and my pots, and I am recording this commentary after the game since there was a lot I wanted to say at the time. First things first, let's bring up our matchups. I'm Poppy in the jungle against Lee Sin. We have Thresh partnered with Teleport Ezreal bot against Vayne and Bard.
Welcome to Summoner's
We have Shyvana top against Teemo, and Yasuo mid against Jarvan the Fourth. So we tried to tell Ez about the teleport. He didn't listen. I guess he went AFK as soon as he picked the character because you can see he's still not in. But Poppy, she is receiving a visual update in the near future, and I was thinking about refunding the Noxus skin because it looked pretty bad at first, but looks like even Riot acknowledged that they kind of messed up with that and they started to adjust the skin, so I might keep it. Blacksmith one doesn't look that bad, so... Well, it's not like I'd have the option to refund that one anyway since it was a gift, but it'd be my default then, instead of alternating these like I do Mundo. So one thing I can mention real quick is that Shyvana is running the Teleport Smite. You'll be seeing that in action throughout the course of the game. And right here you can see a trade that doesn't really go in Jarvan's favor, but the thing is, he is all sustained. If you look at his inventory, he has a bottle and 3 pots, compared to Yasuo who has a Duran Blade and 1 potion. So, Poppy. Passive Valiant Fighter, you can read everything here. You take reduced damage if it's going to take out more than half of your health, I think. Or if it's just a tenth of your health, I don't really remember. Q is an auto attack reset with a 1-to-1 AD ratio as well as percent HP shred. I'm starting with that because I had a leash here. I know I can take this quickly, then get the W for the next camp. Otherwise, like normal, I like to start W. W is Paragon of Demacia. Passive effect is that you get stacks by getting attacked or attacking. The stacks give you an amount of AD and armor based off of the rank of the move. So that's your incentive to max it second. I activated it there right off the bat so I'd have the full stacks immediately. I'm going to be getting my mana back from the blue buff, so it's not like I couldn't afford it. And by having more armor, you take less damage and you're clear. Having more AD, you clear more quickly. Your E is Valiant Charge or something like that. Heroic Charge. It's a targeted ability. It's like a melee version of Vayne's Condemn, a bit ironic since we have a Vayne in the game. But it's pretty much identical to it. You deal an amount of damage to the enemy. Yasuo went ahead and took first blood, go figure. You deal an amount of damage to the enemy, and if you can knock the opponent into terrain, they will take double damage, I believe, and they're also stunned for an amount of time. So right here I was a little concerned that Yasuo was going to lead Lee right to me, and then it would have been really bad. But Lee chickened out to our benefit, and I get to avoid Poppy's really bad early game for a little while longer. And finally, your ult is Diplomatic Immunity. Basically, you target an enemy, and that is the only guy who can damage you, CC you, or anything. So over the course of the game, you're going to see me usually use that on the support while I jump on one of the carries. And right here, I was torn between going for the Trailblazer, the Skirmishers, or the Stalkers. Each of them has some sort of justification going for them. The nice thing about the Stalkers is the slow, because Poppy has problems getting kited, especially with a Vayne and a Teemo on the field. Skirmishers, of course, will reduce their damage, cause them to take more, turns you into a dueling monster, but for the way I see things, Poppy already is a dueling monster, so I don't think I really need that much more. And the Ranger's Trailblazer, nice thing about that is it just keeps you topped off, because Poppy is going to still be having trouble. So I went ahead and took the Toadstool buff here because, for one, it clears it more quickly, and I get a decent return from that. So Jarvan gives up another kill. The Yasuo is going to have fun with him for a little while until the Lee starts to camp the lane, and you'll see how things play out from there. So I was too late for the Scuttle Crab, but not the end of the world. My plan here is to just see if I can spot Lee real quick, because I want to avoid being spotted, so I try to go for a more indirect route And I also want to pick up one camp to give me level 4 so I can get my charge. So I'm going to go ahead and take this, and since I'm anticipating the gank on the bot lane, I am going to go ahead and pop a potion here. So I now have the E. Oh, I'm out of potion. There we go. No, I popped him. So right there, Vayne got a kill on Thresh, and I need to make a play to offset that advantage. So I warded that brush in case she flashed over me. She didn't, as gets the kill. And right there, Bard messed up. He slowed Ezreal instead of me. On account of me being melee versus Ezreal's range, I am faster than him. I'm the one that he needs to be worried about. He ignored me, he died. It's as simple as that.
We are in accord.
So, for those that don't know, Ezreal should have, I believe, 325 movement speed, the same as Kog'Maw and everyone else, which is the absolute lowest in the game. And the reason why he has that, of course, is because he can blink over walls. Poppy, on the other hand, being melee, can haul ass. Not to mention, the way I jungle anyway, I have the movement speed quints, so 4.5% increased movement speed, and I also have the points in the utility tree, I think, like the first level for the increased movement speed off of that. So I think altogether that gives me something like 6% increased movement speed, which is, I think it's pretty important for certain gankers who have a little bit of trouble closing the distance and might have problems getting kited around, like Udyr, for example. But otherwise, I am planning to go for the Devour, just like every other Poppy game. The exciting part of this video, of course, is that, hey, it's not a 20-minute game, even though it's still going to be extremely brutal. So right there was a 3-man gank on mid. Yasuo took Bard out, and of course, since I'm not giving the commentary in the game, I'm going to be my usual sarcastic self, which you may or may not be accustomed to. So on the topic of the Devour, that is getting a build change. It's still going to be out of 2 daggers, of course, but the dagger's built into the recurve bow. So I don't know how that's going to affect the overall item, if it's going to have like 10 AD attached to it, but that's going to make it even better for Poppy, who has that 1-to-1 AD ratio. 10 may not seem like a lot, but it's still 10 more than normal.
Valorant will know harmony.
But I went ahead and grabbed the boots here so that I could potentially get another gank off. I'm 1-0-1, and I want to actually really snowball the lanes and screw over the enemy. So right here, on account of Yasuo being resourceless, I get to monopolize the blue buffs, and I kind of need it since Poppy guzzles mana really badly. Something that may get addressed in the rework, but there's so much up in the air about this character that I'm waiting for more information before casting a judgment. So right here I do have the golem buff, which allows me to take these crab much more quickly. And since I don't have the sheen or anything yet, that I'm completely banking on that for my damage. I mean, I have 2 daggers, all I do is hit fast. So right there was a bad move on Jarvan's part. I drive his ass into his own wall. Yasuo lands his little tornado move, and right there, I went from 1-0-1 to 2-0-2. And my usual line after saving someone. So if you notice, I don't have red buff, Yasuo doesn't have red buff, therefore I knew that this red buff was up, and with Lee dead, it's free red buff. And with Vayne going down as well, there's actually nothing they can do to stop me. Even if Bard came up here, I just sent him back in a box. And since I want to be rude, I'm going to go ahead and leave that one red spawn up there so that Lee has to wait even longer, and by extension Vayne as well, before getting another red buff. So right here I'm clearing out the pink wards. Thresh, I guess, wanted to give that to me, but I didn't want it. I just want to keep moving. I want to get the Devourer so I can start stacking it. The sooner the better. But of course I get sidetracked a little bit on the dragon, which is fine because we just killed Vayne and Timo went down as well, so there's really nothing stopping us from taking this. Not to mention Lee just died in the mid-game. Granted, the death timers aren't really long yet. Yasuo is in position to make sure that he is not going to be pulling anything. So yes, Lee is not pulling anything, but he is pushing daisies, courtesy of Yasuo. So with that, we get the first dragon, and this time I do want to go back to get the Devourer and get that Sunder stack. So Yasuo killed Vayne, but he's not going to be making out of that alive. And I don't remember why I went for this. I think when I did the math, I was a little short of the Vamp Scepter, maybe. That's why I did it. We'll see. But I want the Vamp Scepter so that I actually have better health sustain inside of the jungle. I don't want to just pull off a gank and just walk to my doom. That's a good way to throw a game as well as piss off your laners. So the Vamp Scepter, of course, is going to become Blade of the Ruined King. I want to get an early Cutlass for the slow effect. That will allow it'll just make my ganks all the nastier because I'll have the slow smite as well as the Cutlass active and a potential red buff. And I was also thinking about going for the Frozen Fist this game, but I go Trinity because you'll see how things just go horribly, horribly out of control for them. And they were banking on Vayne's late game. The bad part is, while Vayne is a hyper carry, you can argue Poppy is as well, and Poppy's a little bit scary because I can negate all of Vayne's damage and then just kill her ass. So right there I was thinking Shyvana might have been in danger. No one's following. I wanted to wait here to see if anyone popped out of that brush so I could slam them into the wall and get the stun. But you can't always get what you want, you know? And since I was anticipating a 20-minute surrender here, I am going to do something a little reckless. First I wanted to get the Wolf Spirit out to make sure that we didn't have anyone coming in from above. And since it's a Poppy game, we have to have a tower dive. And sadly, that's it. So since I was typing, I couldn't dodge the Bard stun, and also didn't help that Lee and Vayne were right there. So they go ahead and kill me for the first time in this game, and I will be getting revenge. And like I said, my sarcastic self is in effect, so I'm going to be messing with Yasuo and Shyvana at different parts of the game. But right here I do have enough for the Cutlass, and well, I can't get the Ward Trinket yet. I didn't remember this part. So Bard thinks he pulled a fast one, and judging by everyone's position, it looks like he kind of succeeded, even though Yasuo is coming down for the flank. Well, I could chase and try to get something. The fact of the matter is I still only have tier 1 boots, and I'd just be wasting my time when I could just work on the Devourer a bit more. And right here I'm going to give you a close-up on the skin so that we have something to remember it by, since I was afraid Riot was going to butcher it with their visual update. Worst come to worst, see if they do a number on it and I don't want to use it anymore. We'll still have our memories in this game. So Yasuo executed, Thresh gets a kill on Vayne, I get the blue buff. And I'd say everyone wins except for Yasuo. So while I wanted to take that Scuttle Crab because it's worth 80 gold, fact of the matter is Jarvan's begging for some pain. And if you notice, he has a Sunfire, or he has a Bammy Cinder. I assume that's how it's pronounced. It does do damage to me, but Sunfire is not going to help him with most of my damage, since I actually deal magic damage despite stacking AD. Yeah, odd. So I think I still would have killed him even if the two of us dueled. It's just Thresh allowed me to go. He kept me healthy enough so that I could continue jungling afterwards. I didn't have to worry about using all my potions or just this lifesteal on my Cutlass, just back into action. And I want to kill this one before going back because if you notice, I'm approaching 1200 gold, and that's what a Sheen costs. So by picking off this camp, I get the, what was that, 100 gold approximately? So right there I get the Sheen, and I can also get a new health pot. And sadly, while I normally like to get the trinket upgrade right around now, basically as soon as it unlocks, this game is not going to permit it. It's going to be that bloody, if you're wondering. Yes, right. We're just gonna keep rushing item breakpoints. So one Bard a little later, and our team's in a bit of a sticky spot. Yasuo goes down, Thresh is running to safety, Shyvana's on the flank, I'm running down the middle. And right there I slammed Lee into the wall. So down goes Lee, down goes Jarvan. I could chase Bard, but I'd rather just farm. Get me even further ahead of Lee, who's kind of feeding this game.
They'll beg for
So I don't know what they were thinking with the Jarvan mid, but it's not really working for them. So you had a second to read what I typed, and Yasuo is going to go AFK for a little while in a moment, which is one of the things I think kind of gives them hope. But in the meantime, go ahead and pick up a couple of easy stacks while that pushes in towards the mid. And I just want to keep getting the gold so I can get towards my next item, which is either Blade of the Ruined King or Triforce. I actually know which one, it's just I don't know in terms of the game right now which one I'm going to be going for first. Nice thing about the Glacial Shroud Frozen Fist route is that there is a Lee, a Jarvan, and a Vayne all on the field, and even Teemo does a little bit of physical damage. So the armor will do wonders there, and that's why I'm also going to be rushing Ninja Tabby. Well, I'm not going to be rushing it, but I will be picking up Ninja Tabby as my boots of choice because of all the physical damage. Auto attacks on the field. So right there we get to pick up Dragon, more stacks, as well as giving my team the second level Dragon aspect buff, so they can push towers much better. Meanwhile, Yasuo does go down to Vayne. Sadly, she's the one that actually does the best on their team, I think, overall, and she's the one that they're pretty much betting on.
Valorant will know harmony.
So the red buff I have, I picked up off of Lee's dead body. It's about to just timed out. And the timer permitted me to go ahead and get ours right here. So Thresh is mid, I can go ahead and pick up some of the CS there, as well as allow him to burn some of his stacks, if permitted, but
Immediately.
he's running off into the jungle, so I figure I'm going to go into their jungle too and see if there's something I can steal. Get to set Lee back, as well as work on more stacks. Blue buff would have been nice, but alas, it's not up.
Will not falter.
As for Bard, wrong place, dude. I was hoping I could have slammed him into the wall, but he wasn't in the angles weren't right. I did burn the Cutlass on him. I probably would have been better off just using Smite. Here is one of two disconnects in the game because the server is kind of acting up as I play. But still, with the second aspect of the dragon and that small wave, we have more than enough to go ahead and clear that wave. And take the tower. So right here, we're talking about doing a tower dive. It's pretty much suicidal, yes, but we don't really want them to surrender. We need to give them hope. False hope, perhaps, but hope nonetheless. So right there, I ulted Lee to just see to it so that no one else could damage me. Sadly, Vayne ends up picking me off because I didn't have the ult to run back through the tower. I'm still on tier 1 boots. So yeah, I wasn't really paying attention to how many kills I had racked up until this point. I got 2 right before this. I have enough to get the Triforce right now, which I'm actually going to get since, hey, I have the gold. So I picked up something like 5 kills between deaths, I think. And right there I went ahead and picked up the cloth armor for the boots. I don't have enough to actually finish the boots, but not the end of the world. I have the Triforce now for the speed aspect of both the Zeal and the Phage components, as well as my Paragon of Demacia speed buff. So I can haul ass if needed. Like I said, it's one of the things that Poppy's actually pretty good at, especially once you get rolling. And in this case, you can argue snowballing.
My conviction.
And if you're wondering about the Teemo stuff, I've been seeing so much of him ever since that Omega Squad skin came out. I still have the mindset that Teemo is pretty underpowered, especially as the league currently sits right now. And that skin has made a lot more people play him than normal. Not good. So I could have tried to line up and try to slam that into the wall, but I was hoping I did enough damage anyway to just pick it off. You can see even with tier 1 boots, with both the Phage and Zeal speed buffs, I can just keep wailing on that thing. So right here, I didn't want to fight because I don't have my ult for one, and there's 3 of them. I just wanted to escort my buddy Yasuo out. But they separated, and I'm more than willing to kill Vayne. So I hit her with the smite and the cutlass. I went ahead and burned the ult on her because it does increase my damage on her. I wanted to blow her up before she kind of killed me. I succeeded, and I also get to pick up Lee. So 2 more kills for me, and I show myself out while I still have a pulse. So 1800 is the magic number to get Blade of the Ruined King. I can't remember the price of boots ever. I think it's like $3.75 to finish the Ninja Tabby. And I'd have to make a choice. Sure, I could get Ninja Tabby, a dagger, and then the upgraded War Trinket. But the damage of the Blade of the Ruined King would actually just allow me to shred Lee, Bard, anyone else, pretty much no questions asked. And since I had the Toadstool buff there for a moment, that was doing damage to these and just helped me set them up for execute. And right here I'm just getting all this EXP that Shyvana wasn't getting. I'm a little hesitant to say gold because those bastard minions are denying a couple of them from me. So right here, I don't have enough.
We are in accord, Summoner.
So that's why I run over to the golems. Yeah, this will give me enough to get the boots on this back, and then I'll be a lot more dangerous than I was. I'll actually have just raw speed from the level 2 boots. I'll take less damage from most of their team, and I deal more damage on account of the HP shred of the blade. So while a trinket upgrade would have been nice, fact of the matter is I'm snowballing pretty hard, and I just gotta keep moving forward in my build to keep the lead. So if you're really feeling aggressive, the next item you can get is an Infinity Edge and really take advantage of the crits. Instead, I want to be able to survive in a fight. I also want the utility slow of the Randuin's Omen. And sadly, I didn't get to knock her into the wall, but right there I ulted Bard, which means Vayne can't hurt me, and I just run her ass down. But Bard is able to CC me, and he slowed me enough so that I couldn't actually re-engage on him. Bad news is that just means I re-engage on one of his teammates. If you want to know who exactly, it's going to be Jarvan. Right there. So I don't know what he was thinking, but right there I pushed him away from Shyvana so there was no threat to her life. I execute him, and then I take off to go steal stuff from the jungle. Also helps that I can get some lifesteal back. Blue buff, that does wonders for me. It also helps that I'm at, what, 40% mana? As picks up the Bard kill, and I can also go ahead and go top lane and try to push that in so that we can pick off an extra objective off of that last play. Plus gold, I never say no to you. So I am getting the full Paragon of Demacia bonus. I think it's something like 25, maybe? Additional AD, as well as the Blade of the Ruined King and Trinity. All those things allow me to push pretty effectively. Meanwhile, Thresh is pinging the dragon. While the towers are nice for the global gold, the fact of the matter is the level 3 dragon does mean movement speed for me. Bad news is, of course, well, Vayne and Lee are there, and I don't have ult. So I might have been able to do some sort of suicide play, but I figured letting them have the dragon, hope we might be able to drag a couple more minutes out of the game. And sadly, from where you're sitting, you actually know how long the game's going to last. Me, on the other hand, I wanted to finally get a long Poppy game so you can really see what the Yordle can do to whatever unfortunate victim she happens to come across. So right here I was thinking health, but then I remember Vayne does percent HP damage, and it's true damage, so Warden's Mail will do more for me, as well as just, hey, more armor. The attack speed slow means it's going to be a little bit harder for her to proc these silver bolts. Once I get the actual Omen, the slow will pretty much secure her demise once I finally catch up to her. But I can go ahead and renew my blue buff. see how healthy I am while clearing the jungle. It doesn't really cost me that much mana anymore. Poppy's one of the ones that has a rough time at the very beginning, and then once you get past that early game, it's just a breeze. So someone pinged Baron. I thought we were going for it. With Shyvana having Smite as well, this should have been a very quick and easy take. But my team is screwing around the mid lane for one reason or another. So I figure I can go ahead and get this. Maybe they'll come back for it. We'll have the speed shrine enabled, more stacks, win, win, win. But no. So we really don't have much to gain by being here. In fact, you can even go as far as say we have literally nothing to gain by being here. I don't really know why the team insists on staying, but I'm eating the Teemo shrooms. I'm at least clearing them out for the teammates, and I can always go lifesteal off of some unfortunate creep. So the chickens just respawned. The unfortunate victims I chose were the golem camp here, whatever the hell they're called these days. And while the farm up top is pretty tempting, none of my teammates would actually go for it. And here we get the drive-by. So ult on the support, Vayne goes, well, Lee goes splat, flash, and then Vayne goes splat, and Jarvan goes splat. So while my team kind of messed up by staying around this long, we don't even have a wave here to take a Nexus turret, but super minions arrive and we decide to stick around and take one of the Nexus turrets. Since my ult is down, that means I don't have any incentive to tower dive Bard. But we go ahead and take one and then we piece the hell out before they come at us because you know they're going to be pissed. And here Ez dies to a Teemo shroom. So I was kind of hoping he'd know, okay, running in Teemo's jungle is a bad idea. But no, he didn't. So right here Yasuo is taking the red, that's kind of fine. I can always get theirs either by stealing it myself or just picking it up off someone's dead body. Either way works for me. But I have enough of the Randuin's Omen. Not enough for a trinket or an elixir, but not the end of the world. Being the most fed guy on my team anyway. I don't even know why he was walking there, to be honest. He was begging for that. But being the most fed guy on my team, I just need damage and survivability. The Omen, of course, beyond just the raw defensive stats, it does have a slow to help me secure kills.
Immediately.
So I have the slow of the Omen, the Blade, the Smite, potential red buff, and had I gone for the Frozen Fist, that probably would have been overkill, to be honest.
Their defeat is non-negotiable.
And I messed up there because I didn't really realize how much power I actually had. So Shyvana succeeds in taking the inner turret,
My convictions will not falter.
and the dragon is going to be coming up in approximately a minute. I want the third one, of course, for the movement speed, so that way it's even harder for them to kite me. And it's almost at the point where I'm impossible to kite. So I don't know what Jarvan was thinking, if he was thinking, but it cost him his life. So I have more incentive to go for him because, for one, it's a kill, and two, Devourer stacks. So right here I use the Golem buff to deal some damage to the tower. The Bard ult does mean that we can't take it. I ult Bard since he kind of used his stuff already, and I wanted to kill someone. And right here you can just see how annoying that ult is come late. Thresh needlessly shielded me, but I don't remember what the cooldown is on Face of the Mountain offhand, to be honest. Not needed. So we should have had that, but we can get on the next trip. In the meantime, Dragon's coming up, and I can go ahead and secure the Scuttle Crab to get us the Speed Shrine for 1, and 2 Devourer stacks, as well as the 80 gold, so I guess I actually get 3 things out of it. Bad news here is this is the second and final lag spike of the game. could have came at a bad time if the enemy actually did engage on that, but good news is, with all my movement speed and just item build, I can go ahead and take that. And I was really concerned about a Lee Sin potential smite steal here. You can see lag hasn't gone away just yet. So luckily the smite did manage to go off. Lee did not go in, even though he did have the execute on his Q, I believe, to potentially secure that. So right here they're going to be getting the top tower. Oh wait, this is the final lag spike right here.
Your turret has been destroyed.
So we lost the top and bottom turrets, but that was kind of inevitable since the enemy has yet to take any of our towers. And I decided to go this way to try to rout them off from behind, just like in that earlier game. The bad part is this does get Shyvana killed. It's going to lag out right here so you can't see, but Bard tethered us together with his Q. Shyvana was stunned and that cost her her life. But the good news is I can go ahead and pick off Jarvan, and then Fat Boy here isn't too difficult to take down. So while my health was kind of low, I'm now able to just sustain off of the minions, and I live, and they're dead. 2 more kills, and 4 more stacks into my Devourer.
Enemy killing spree.
So I'm
Valorant
not going to lie, I don't really know what my team is thinking for most of the game, because we're kind of making stupid plays. And by we, I pretty much mean they, since I'm still securing objectives such as the dragon and trying to push lanes. For them, they stand in places where they don't really need to be, and it's kind of getting themselves killed. It's bringing Vayne back into the game. Not entirely bad, because right here I'm just praying they don't surrender. And at this point we have less than 2 minutes left, so yeah. So right here I asked them, can we finally get the Baron and just end this, because they're throwing. And if they didn't want to do anything, then that's pretty much game over, because they'll just
My convictions
stand
will
around
not
and scratch
falter.
their asses until they finally lose. So right here I start this to try to force my team into finally doing something. And this is when the enemy decides to engage. Bad news for Jarvan is I can take him out of the air. And while I did ult Teemo to try, or I ulted Bard while I wanted to blow up Teemo. And Bard, here comes his Q, and then the Vayne condemned. So you can see who they fear. And Vayne is going to get to safety, but Lee Sin is just going to die in her place. So slow from Yasuo. Right here I used my blade, so he is not going anywhere. Then one row of charge later, and Lee never saw it coming. So Shyvana went ahead and dived. She can do that because she's using that Cinder Hole Mega Tank build. And we have the wave in the proper position to wrap this one up. I will be killing Jarvan for the final kill of the game, so check out the stats now if you're interested. But a nice poppy jungle game for once for you guys, and something to give us a little reminder of how she was before her update. Hopefully it goes off well. But poppy jungle, I'm the hero of light. Thanks for watching.